Hi, everyone, and welcome back to a Nurturing Astrology Nugget. I'm Dominique Jaramillo, your astrologer. Today is Saturday, and it is Saturn's day. And this morning, I woke up inspired through my meditation to do a Nurturing Nugget about Saturn and Pisces. Where to begin? Well, Saturn will be in Pisces from March 7th, 2023 through February 14th, 2025. And currently, Jupiter is sitting at 29 degrees Pisces and finishing this passage through Pisces where Saturn is about to travel. Saturn is about grounding our work in the world, our purpose. It also rules time and legacy, hard work, practice, dedication. Personally, what's come through to me really, really big that I feel is important to share and might be helpful to others is this very, very important practice, or this very, very important work of creating and building a lifelong practice of working with spirit, of working with our highest self, with working with our spirit guides. And this is something that I'm already starting to play with and feel extremely instantly, synchronistically, divinely called to, and already seeing like the yeses every day about this being my work over the course of the next 2 years. And I think everybody leaning into this more can actually help us all stay grounded through this huge shift that we know our world and us as humanity are going through. I believe that the work of Saturn through Pisces is going to bring the biggest results, Saturn, success, Saturn, progress, Saturn, if we slow down, tune in, and trust and only respond from our deepest sense of personal truth, knowing, and understanding within. I think that letting spirit be our guide more and more, and that one inner guide be our number one source or counsel that we go to, will be helping us the most in the coming years and beyond. Saturn is about long term. It's not about the short term and here and now. It's about what are we building long term. And I think that Saturn in Pisces is saying, build that solid, long-term connection and practice with self, with your higher God, spirit, angels, divinity, whatever that means for you. Faith, belief. Jupiter's about faith and beliefs. And it's been in Pisces this whole year for the most part, other than when it dipped into Aries. And this, I don't know about you, but it's been coming up immensely about really being called inward to listen and feel more. And I think that with Jupiter and Pisces, it's really inspired a lot, right? And broken a lot open and expanded our perspectives and our ideas of what's possible. Now Saturn's going to come through and say, okay, like, what are you going to do with that? How do you put that in practice so that it can carry you through the challenges, through the tough times that might come, as we all know that transformation and growth is not easy and is not comfortable. So what can you build that you can rely on, Capricorn, to carry you through. And I truly believe it's a spiritual practice, and it's a connection with true source and self from within first. We know that Pisces dissolves things, right? And so with Saturn being rules and structures and form and boundaries, so Pisces will come in and dissolve these things, which means it will make it harder for us to maintain healthy emotional boundaries, healthy boundaries from letting energy and other things come in to affect us. So it's going to take work, Saturn, to hold that space for ourselves and to be very mindful about what we let in, what we utilize, and what we hold outside and not allow to penetrate us, shake us off our course, off our inner balance. I've already started this mindfulness practice and been pulling angel cards every day after my meditation. And I'm instantly seeing the divine synchronicity, and the connection and the communication is mind-blowing already. And so I really feel like this can help everyone, whatever that is for you. It doesn't have to be pulling cards or even meditating every day. It could be working out every day. It could be going on a long walk, being in nature. It can be journaling. It can be anything or everything that allows you to go inward and really connect with self and source. It could be art, creativity, painting, dancing, whatever it is. Lean into all those Pisces things in terms of endless possibilities and endless creativity and imagination. That source, that love, unconditional love. I think that we're all going to be called to work a little bit harder on how we love and the conditions from which we are loving, and learning that all there is love. All that's real really is love, and taking care of ourselves and having faith that we're all on a divine path, a unique divine path, is what will actually take us where we're ultimately supposed to go and bring us the most success to reach those highest potentials that we came here to reach. Not what the world thinks, or not to be influenced by the outside world or what we think we should do. Saturn is very much about guilt and shoulds and responsibilities and obligations. This can fall away with Saturn moving through Pisces. So it can be difficult sometimes to not get off track and be a little bit neglectful of our responsibilities. So it's going to be extra important to set up practice and work to keep our daily routines, and our obligations handled. Making those lists or those plans that help us stay on track and handle the things we really need to handle, the things that are important to us, while also making sure that we're not taking on too much and becoming overwhelmed, overworked, and then we can shut down. And I do believe that pushing out of any sense of obligation is only going to cause problems. So we have to let go of the coulda, woulda, shouldas, or what the rest of the world is doing, and really tune in to our own journey and what we most desire to do and what we feel most called to do, and trust that as our guide and follow that path. Also with Saturn and Pisces being deep feeling and sensitivities, our emotions are going to be really at the forefront. And this isn't easy for everyone. So there can be this struggle or challenge to share ourselves emotionally and being called to be more vulnerable. And again, this is where real gifts can come, is when we open ourselves up to be more vulnerable and share our fears, our worries, our concerns with people that we care about and can trust, because that's the kind of support that can then help us. I pulled a card about listening to divine guidance, but it was from within and from others, because you ever feel that you have those conversations and you're like, oh, I was supposed to hear that. Or as an astrologer, you do a reading and you're like, oh, you say something to a client and you realize, oh, that was actually for me, or I needed to hear that too. I mean, we've all done that, right? That's spirit. So trusting those messages are coming from spirit as well, and from within as much as from without. And that sort of, ebb and flow is what can help us have faith that the path is unfolding as it's meant to for us, and not getting, stuck in the fear and uncertainties that can also come with this energy. And there's going to be so many changes happening in the world. It's going to be easy to feel scared or worried or uncertain. So how do you combat that? You settle, you breathe, you ground, you tune in. I believe that we will all go through tests of faith in the next 2 years. And we will be called to maybe have faith in that which we can't see, but we somehow know in our souls to be true. And becoming masters. Saturn is about mastery, masters of our own intuition and our own inner guide. And pulling resources and people and, energy, people in our lives that support us, or our angels or spirit guides that support us, that extra support to help us trust that we're following our own path, but not alone, right? Nobody can do it alone. And I think that with Jupiter rushing through Aries, we're all going to be independent and wanting to do it alone. And then we're going to move into those eclipses of Aries and Libra, and the nodes will shift into Aries and Libra. And it's going to be about, okay, let's find that balance of self and other, and where I'm truly being authentic and real and honest with myself, and living from that, as well as how am I in relationship? How am I in relationship with other? And how do I love? And how do I give? And how am I creating that healthy balance in my life? And can I stick to my spiritual practice and my practices and responsibilities to self and my spiritual growth while I take care of others, while I do for others or handle my responsibilities and obligations? As parents, as wives and mothers, we all know most of the time everyone else comes first. And I think this is a really big calling to say, my health and my well-being has to be prioritized in order to be all that I can be and want to be for those that I love. So this is part of the work. And so if you've been neglecting yourself, your energy, your emotions, your health and well-being, you're going to feel challenged to do that this year. It's going to be important that you do. So building strong foundations that are based from that spiritual practice that can sustain you long term. Like, that's my goal. It's like, in the next 2 years, how can I really ebb and flow and find the right and most authentic practice for me that can sustain me long term and allow me to be open and compassionate with myself and my own heart and needs and desires, as well as then care and love and support the same in others in my life and even humanity, right? By what I put out energetically to the world. So work with people who inspire you too. If Saturn is about work and Pisces is inspiration and creativity, work with people that light you up, that excite you, that call toward you as, those people that you meet that you feel like you've known your whole life, or that you have this sort of divine connection to, those soul sisters and brothers, and those, spiritual, communities that, enrich and fulfill your life and help you stay rooted in your own heart and center as your guide. And also structure your life with faith and trust and belief from that inside out, that what you're doing, having faith that it will show itself, that the road will open up and show itself as it should, and in due time and in divine timing. With Jupiter running through Aries in the first of the year, that's impatience. You're wanting to do it all. Saturn's going to come in and slam on the brakes. Well, first of all, when Jupiter moves into Taurus, brakes come on, and we're going to go, okay, let's slow down and ground. Okay. Maybe you initiated a lot of stuff. Maybe you got a lot of things going. Maybe you're really excited about some stuff, but okay, time to put in the work. And then Saturn comes in and says, yes, but don't forget your spiritual practice. Don't forget what is truly guiding you, what is truly calling to you, and what you are doing every day to stay connected in your own truth, in your own well-being, your own divinity, and creative possibility and personal belief in that which we can't see. Trusting. It's not going to be easy because this kind of thing isn't easy for a lot of people. We want results, we want things done in a certain way, in a certain time, and all of that falls away. And Saturn in Pisces is taking away all of the sense of structure. So if we lean into that, what can you create that feels like structure to carry you through when there are so many things that feel ungrounded? That's spirit, that's soul, source, divinity, your guides, your own energy, your own frequency. It's taking care of the inner in order to truly be able to master the outer and to be of service in a compassionate, loving, honest way to those that in your life and that you wish and hope to serve in the world. So look to where Pisces is in your natal chart. That 0 to 29 degrees of Pisces is where Saturn is going to be making this passage for you. So for me, it's through the 9th and into the 10th house. So it makes total sense that these belief systems and wanting to be of service in a real way and bringing my spiritual practice to my work and to share with other people is really feeling important for my own health and well-being and for what I can maybe most help others with. For you, it might be your first house of just your identity, and that just the old self dissolving away and building a new sense of self and confidence and courage to step out into who you are. Money would be the second house, right? Or your worth and your beliefs. It's like all of these may be programming and things that made you think you weren't worthy of having all the things that you wanted. That may be tested now. In the third house, your everyday needs and desires and the way that you relate with other people may be challenged, and you will have to lean in and trust and be mindful of your words and come at your work and your connections with others with a great deal of compassion. And in the fourth, it might be your family and your roots and your heritage and your connection to your early childhood that's being awakened or challenged for you to grow into who you uniquely are, separate from that early childhood or programming. And in the fifth house, this is where your work, your creative work, and your desire to express yourself more fully, more creatively, more joyfully is coming in and allowing spirit to come through you in creative ways and to share that with others and to find more joy in your everyday, allowing spirit to awaken that in you. And then the sixth house, I wasn't necessarily going to go around the houses, but why not? Let's go. So the sixth house is your daily routines and your health and your well-being. It's going to be very important that you have a wellness practice, whether you're eating right, getting enough rest, water, and sleep, and exercise. You're seeing the doctor and handling anything that might be ailing you. This is going to make you stronger and better for your work. In the seventh house, obviously your relationships, your marriages, the people you work with, your partnerships. Maybe you want to really lean into connecting and working with people who you have a more spiritual bond with or a common drive or a common goal around spirituality or compassion or service, the type of people that you work with and that you decide to unite with and marry or love will want to be much deeper and richer. The 8th house would be definitely this deep uncovering of wounds and this alchemy of really tapping into the deepest parts of our heart, soul, and understanding of life and death and endings and beginnings. There may be, work around really closing things out and trusting that whatever's ending and leaving or being destroyed needs to be. So letting go is going to be really, really important. Learning to let go the hard way, potentially, right? So if things are pulled from you or seem to dissolve away, they are meant to. And this is something overall we can trust too. The Saturn is going to melt away or destroy or dissolve anything that isn't working. Through the 9th, like I was saying with me, about our belief systems, our experiences in the world, our higher education or higher mind and exploration. Maybe you want to take spiritual classes or take classes around, tapping into your own intuition or your spirit guides or mediumship or any of these sort of occult things. Maybe you want to start studying astrology. So this is huge. And all of these things will open up your mind in terms of your perspective and how you see the world. And therefore, when it moves into the 10th, you can't work the same, right? The things you do in the world are different. And if it is your 10th house, you know that spiritual work is part of your work in the world, and this can be refined now. The challenges and things that come in now, as Saturn would move through the 10th house, are challenging you to tune into your heart and your soul and your divine calling more and more. So listen to that. And then the 11th house is our groups and hopes and wishes and dreams and those communities that we connect with. So getting into community and finding those communities or thinking about as work, Saturn, how do I serve my communities? How do I serve my friends? Am I a good friend? Am I being honest and coming from the heart? Are groups that you were once a part of no longer really feeling good to you? So you may not feel connected to the same people or the same groups anymore in the same way. And there may need to be changes there. And then, of course, Pisces, if it's in the 12th house, and that's Pisces for you, you are way into this. And this is where you can be careful not to want to completely escape and run away from the world and from the duties of your life or responsibilities. It's going to be very important to create a healthy practice of grounding and staying present. And you have direct link to source here to really make that connection work for you, to make that wisdom that comes in work for you. So a divine spiritual, some sort of spiritual practice is going to be priceless for helping really bring your connection to source, to bring it into form in a way that can really, really serve the world and serve others in a big way. So be mindful of not wanting to escape or becoming overwhelmed in the fear or uncertainties or unknowing, but instead tuning into true sense of knowing and taking steps every day and building a practice and a life around what you know to be true in your heart, even if the outside world doesn't look like that, isn't being reflected back to you. Really having faith and trust in building something that can inspire others and really show the world that we are all connected and that the work that we each individually do every day can help and make a difference in the lives of everyone around us, as well as people we cannot see around the globe, in the universe even, right? That you have the ability to change the frequency of the planet and beyond. And so this leaning into that kind of work. So I think that overall, that's what Saturn in Pisces is calling us to do the spiritual work, to find and build and create a practice that can sustain you long-term for your health and well-being, so that you can remain on your path for highest good and help inspire others as well to stay on their divine path toward highest good. I hope this has helped you. I felt very called and inspired to talk about Saturn Pisces today because it is something that I am building in my own life and wanted to share with others, in hopes that if you're feeling this kind of call to create a solid spiritual practice to carry you through all the uncertainties going forward, now's the time to start. Mercury is in Capricorn, Venus is in Capricorn, and Mercury's in its shadow retrograde. So start playing with what feels good to you. Meditate, pull some cards, take a walk, start exploring and see what really resonates and what feels good to you. Maybe it's taking the dog for a walk every day. Maybe it's a combination, So start playing with what kind of spiritual practice you can create for yourself. So by the time Saturn moves in to Pisces on March 7th, you're ready, and the spiritual practice you can put in place that's going to help you maintain and manage the next 2 years. So I'm wishing you all the best for this amazing, beautiful transit, and hoping that any challenges that you face or that come up for you are helping you learn the most important and valuable lessons about your own divinity and what's possible for you and how you can connect in order to be your best self and reach your highest potentials. And I'll see you on the next Nurturing Astrology Nugget.